Hello, everybody. Welcome to our March 22nd, 2023 City of Mesa Planning and Zoning Public Hearing. We'll begin by taking a roll call for the board tonight. So Chair Crockett is absent, and I am Vice Chair Ayers. Board Member Allen.
Here.
Board Member Sarkeesian.
Here.
Board Member Peterson.
Here.
Board Member Pitcher.
Here.
And Board Member Montez.
Here.
Thank you. So as part of today's agenda, we have a consent agenda that will be read into the record and acted on in one motion. And thankfully, Jessica has agreed to read that consent agenda for me. Oh, actually, we're going to start by reading comments, public comments that we've received on item 3A, actually, before we read the consent agenda. And Troy Peterson's going to read those comments for us.
The following citizen comments were received for item 3A, case ZON 22-01174 from Patrick Benedict, 4548 South Axis. I oppose the development of this property and personally believe the citizen participation outreach by the applicant was insufficient. The outreach area failed to include the primary target market of this development, residents of the Eastmark development. Beyond that, I don't believe that the traffic impacts of a site with 7 drive-through outlets have been adequately contemplated. Lastly, I don't believe this aligns with the city's desire to limit the concentration of drive-through restaurants. Second comment from Micah Ramos, 9558 East Thornbush. District 6 does not need more fast food, and we definitely do not need 9 fast food places at this one intersection. Please reject this until the proposed site plan that has more sit-down restaurants. Third comment from Sam Delgadillo, no address provided. Eastmark and our surrounding communities are tired of the city of Mesa flooding our corners with drive-through eateries. Time and time again, we have asked for sit-down restaurants to take our business, yet we are forced to drive to Queen Creek to spend money we should be able to spend in Mesa. 9 drive-through eateries on Elliott and Ellsworth or any corner is absolutely ridiculous and goes against what we are asking for and telling you we will spend to eat in our own city. No reasonable person would support this development plan unless its appeal is monetary only. Comment number 4 from Lauren Tebanoff, 10552 East Sebring Avenue. This community needs less drive-through fast food type eateries. We need more family-friendly restaurants and establishments in order for this part of Mesa to become more of a destination. And the final comment, number 5, from Kathleen Segar, 4659 South Romano. I am a 13-year resident of Bella Via here in Mesa. We have repeatedly asked not to have so much congestion in small spaces and especially just fast food drive-through restaurants. My husband and I are in our mid-60s and do not enjoy this kind of food, so we are forced to go to Gilbert, Chandler, or Scottsdale for dinner or even a decent lunch. I don't think that you have visited the corner of Signal Butte and Guadalupe to see the absolute nightmare of traffic and accidents that have occurred since this site opened up. It has no aesthetic appeal. And that concludes the public comments received.
Thank you, Troy. Appreciate that. Jessica's going to be reading our consent agenda.
The consent agenda for the Planning and Zoning Board for March 22nd, 2023. Minutes from the March 8th, 2023 study session and regular meeting. Item 3A, ZON 22-01174, Elliott and Ellsworth site plan modification within the 3400 to 3600 blocks of South Ellsworth Road, within the 9200 and 9400 blocks of East Elliott Road, and within the 9200 and 9400 blocks of East Peterson Avenue, located east of Ellsworth Road and north of Elliott Road, 17 acres for site plan review and special use permit to allow for commercial development. Staff recommendation is approval with conditions. Item 4A, ZON 20.
Chair, board members, could you read in the block range for East Elliott again? There was a mistake there.
Within the 92 to 9400 blocks of East Elliott Road. Staff recommendation was approval with conditions.
Jessica, the minutes to item 2A. Did you read the minutes?
You guys are behind. Item 4A, ZON 21-01072, Villas on Baseline within the 1800 block of East Baseline Road located north of Baseline Road and west of Gilbert Road, 2 acres, rezone from agricultural to multiple residence 4 within a planned area development overlay, RM4-PAD, and site plan review to allow for a townhouse development. Staff recommendation is approval with conditions. Item 4C, ZON 22-01015, Cannon Beach PAD amendment within the 4,400 to 4,600 blocks of South Power Road and within the 6,800 to 7,100 blocks of East Warner Road, located east of Power Road and south of Warner Road, 44 acres, rezone of 1.6 acres from agricultural to general commercial with a PAD overlay, modification of an existing PAD development on the entire 44 acres and site plan modification. This request will allow for commercial development. Staff recommendation is approval with conditions. Item 4D, ZON 22-01157, Higley 202 Industrial Commerce, within the 3800 block of North Higley Road and the 3800 block of North 54th Street, located east of Higley Road and north of Thomas Road, 10 acres, rezoned from light industrial to light industrial with a planned area development overlay and site plan review. This request will allow for industrial development. Staff recommendation is continued to the April 12, 2023 Planning and Zoning Board meeting. Item 4E, ZON 22-01214, Chick-fil-A, within the 1,200 to 1,300 blocks of West Southern Avenue, within the 1,100 block of South Stewart, and within the 1,000 to 1,100 blocks of South Alma School Road, located west of Alma School Road on the north side of Southern Avenue, 16 acres. Site plan review will allow for the restaurant, for a restaurant with a drive-through. Staff recommendation is approval with conditions. Item 4G, ZON 22-01278, the Brickyards on Ellsworth, within the 9,200 and 9,600 blocks of East Willis Road, located north of Germain Road and east of Ellsworth Road, 63 acres, site plan review. This request will allow for an industrial park. Staff recommendation is approval with conditions. The following preliminary plats: 5A, Elliott and Ellsworth Commercial Center, within the 3,400 to 3,600 blocks of South Ellsworth Road, within the 9,200 to 9,400 blocks of East Elliott Road, and within the 92 to 9,400 blocks of East Peterson Avenue, located east of Ellsworth Road and north of Elliott Road, 17 acres, preliminary plat to allow for a commercial development. Staff recommendation is approval of conditions. Item 5B, Cannon Beach, within the 4,400 to 4,600 blocks of South Power Road and within the 6,800 to 7,100 blocks of East Warner Road, located east of Power Road and south of Warner Road, 44 acres, preliminary plat to allow for commercial development. Staff recommendation is approval with conditions. Item 5C, Higley 202 Industrial Commerce, within the 3,800 block of North Higley Road and within the 3,800 block of North 54th Street, located east of Higley Road and north of Thomas Road, 10 acres, preliminary plat to allow for the development of industrial development. Staff recommendation is continued to the April 12, 2023 Planning and Zoning Board meeting. And item 5D, the Brickyards in Ellsworth, within the 9,200 and 9,600 blocks of East Willis Road, located north of Germain Road and east of Ellsworth Road, 63 acres, preliminary plat. This request will allow for industrial park. Staff recommendation is approval with conditions. And that is the consent agenda.
Very nice, Jessica. Thank you. Any blue cards that we've received? Yes, clap, clap. No?
Chair, Vice Chair, no blue cards.
Okay. With that, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as read?
I would move that we approve the consent agenda as read in for the record on March 22nd, 2023.
Seconded.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Anyone opposed? We're good. All right, with a 6-0 with Chair Crockett not here, the consent agenda passes. Thank you, everybody. And with that one, we're going to hear our first case. I personally will be recusing myself from the discussion on this case, and Jessica's going to take over as chair for this part of the presentation. Thank you.
All right. Item 4B, ZON 22-01008, Gateway East, within the 5,300 to 6,200 blocks of South Ellsworth Road and the 8,200 to 8,800 blocks of East Ray Road, south of Ray Road, and west of Ellsworth Road, 23 acres. It's a rezone from light industrial with a planned area development overlay to light industrial with a planned area development overlay with a council use permit and a special use permit to allow for commercial industrial development.
Chair and board
Cassie.
members, staff is requesting that we continue this item to the April 12th, 2023 hearing.
Okay, then. So we don't have any staff comment and public comments out anyway. So with that, I need a recommendation for,
Motion to
Motion.
continue,
was it April 12th?
yeah,
Correct. April 12th.
to continue ZON 22-01008 to the April 12th Planning and Zoning Board meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, first motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion carries with 5 yeses, Chairman Crockett absent, and Vice Chair Ayers abstaining. and handing it back over.
Thank you. All right. We're going to move on to the next case, right, Rachel? 4F.
Yep, so item 4F, which is EON 22-01271. So we did a presentation downstairs. Board, would it be your preference that we do the presentation up here as well?
Anybody want to hear the presentation again? Or do you want to go right
I don't need to hear it.
Okay.
Right to the applicant.
I'll go right to the applicant based on our conversation. Give Cassidy a little break here.
Good evening, members of the board. Benjamin Tate with Whitney Morris, 525 East Arizona Biltmore Circle, on behalf of Avalon Development, the applicant in this case. I'm hopeful we can actually clear up the concerns about the parking SUP fairly quickly here, because based on the conversation downstairs, it sounds like that was the primary issue. So from the top, what I'll say is that the other EOS location that the board was referring to on Gilbert Road, that's currently parked at a 1 space per 180 square foot ratio. We based our parking reduction, and in fact, if you look at our parking study, we referenced that approval from the City of Mesa for that parking reduction in our parking study. A little bit of background on where these, I guess the merit behind the parking reductions for these types of fitness facilities. It's largely because, unlike the City of Mesa, there are other cities in the valley who look at fitness facilities, particularly as they get larger, that the attendance to square foot ratio is not 1-to-1. That as you increase the size of a fitness facility, it accommodates the ability for amenities that take up a lot of floor area, but don't necessarily have a 1-to-1 increase in the amount of people. For example, a basketball court or a pool or a tennis court. That may take up a lot of floor space as you get into a larger facility, but that doesn't equate to a sort of a straight line ratio in the increase in the number of people. So now with that said, we are currently requesting, per our request, the same parking reduction that the other EOS facility got, which is 1 space per 180 square feet. City of Mesa requires typically 1 per 100. We did some math downstairs, and at least and the board can correct me if I'm wrong here, but it sounded like the concern was that we were going to follow the same actual parking provided as that other EOS location that is actually parked at a 1 per 180. Having looked at our site plan and done the math downstairs, for our fitness facility, we are actually currently parked at a 1 per 114 square foot ratio. So we are actually almost at the ordinance requirement. So if the board would prefer, we can reduce the amount of our request. We really just followed the other one for the ratio. We don't actually need that much of a reduction. So if it would satisfy the board, we are more than happy to drop that request to a 1 per 125 square foot ratio to give ourselves a little bit of flexibility, but still adding considerably more parking than the other EOS is parked at. And also it's worth noting that other EOS is 10,000 square feet larger than the one that we are proposing here. And this would actually get a little bit smaller because the EOS is actually considering removing the pool from this location.
So removing the pool in general, or would more space be same footprint?
If I understood correctly, it would likely be reduced from 42,000 to 40,000 square feet. But that being said, since it sounds like the main concern was that there was a concern we were actually going to provide parking at a 1 per 180, that's not what we're doing.
Yeah.
And so we are more than happy to reduce that request if that satisfies the concerns of the board.
Got it. Any questions, comments for the applicant on the board? No? Good.
Is one
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
So I think I'm the one that asked this to be removed from the consent agenda. So if you reduce it to, what would how many, let me back up, just kind of do the math for me. How many spaces, parking spaces are we talking about providing as opposed to what you're requesting?
So let me do the math really quick. So at 42,000, so we would be required to have 420 spaces per the ordinance. And right now on our parking, on our actual site plan, we are providing 366 spaces, which would be 1 space per 114 square feet. And again, in order to give ourselves at least a little flexibility, because we still have to go through, design review and a few other things on this. If we could drop that down to 1 per 125, that's what we would prefer. If that's not enough for the board, we can drop it additionally, but we would be asking for at least a little bit of flexibility here, which is still considerably more parking than the other EOS is providing.
I think that was the concern that some of us had, is that some of the other sites that we're aware of are underparked or appear to be underparked. And so even if this is a smaller site than some of the other locations that you have throughout the valley, I think that was the concern, is just that they're severely underparked. Some of the other ones are as well.
We're doing the math on our side.
Understood.
Because, yeah, as we're looking at it, it's based on what you're saying. If you kept it at 42,000 and you're at 180 and then you're at 125, it's close to about 100 stall difference, which is huge.
Right. And I would point out that I think, Board Member Sarkeesian, I think you were actually the one who pointed this out downstairs, that the one sort of big difference between this site and the other one is that the other one does have what we would call inline retail, where they've got sort of suited retail. And a lot of that, if you go to that center, is largely food and beverage. And it's not drive-through food and beverage, so people are actually parking, going in, et cetera. This is a grocery store, a fitness center, a service station, and then 4 drive-throughs. Those 4 drive-throughs are going to circulate a lot more and create a lot fewer parked cars than the other center would.
Board, can we clarify with this proposal? Are we proposing a modification to the site plan in front of us today to add those additional parking spaces?
Well, no, so it wouldn't be a change to the site plan because we're still over-parked even if we were to reduce the requested. So I think all we would be asking to do, because a number of actual parking spaces provided wouldn't change, would be to reduce our request on the SUP ratio to 1 per 125.
Yeah, it's just so their ask of the special use permit would go from 1 per 180 to 1 to 125.
Total number of spaces stays the
Would-
same.
Yeah, the site plan stays the same. It's just their request on the use permit approval changes.
Good, okay.
Is that something that work, or? 'Cause
Chair
it's-
Board members,
it's
I just wanted that clarification
Okay.
if that was going to entail a change to the site plan.
No.
But I'll leave this up to your discussion.
Yeah, and I think that reading through the parking study, I didn't realize that you were overparked on the site by that much personally. So I didn't pick that up. So I think it certainly helps the case moving forward to just kind of feel a little bit more comfortable with the parking situation as it is, knowing that there's that 100 extra within that. I have no issue with that. I think it actually would be very helpful. So any more comments or questions from the board?
Yeah, can you, so specifically how many spaces are, so I see on the site plan the total is
526.
526 spaces provided.
366 of that is currently provided for the EOS. Because we are parking all of the other uses at their ordinance requirement. So if you add up all of those and subtract that from the total, 366 are left.
But then on your summary for EOS Fitness, where you have 1 per 100, it says 420 are required.
That's what would be required if we were not requesting a reduction. So if we parked it at the
Okay,
ordinance
gotcha.
requirement, 420 would be required.
Yeah. And that's why they're going down to 120, 125 at this point.
Okay, gotcha.
So you're still about, what, 60, 70 spaces difference? Is that the request?
Yeah.
I believe so, yes, that's about right.
Yeah, board members, if I'm doing my calculations, it's about 54 spaces less.
Okay.
I'm comfortable with that.
But more than the other location.
Okay. All right, with that, I think, any more discussion items? Shelley, you good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a question, I don't know if it's for is this still the road that is planning to go wider? Well, it's the Elliott, right?
So this is Elliott here.
Yes, this one?
Yeah.
Is this in the works of, because isn't this, it's not 2-lane right now, is it? Isn't it 1-on-1? Because is that where all the drive-throughs would be?
Kind of water companies next door. I think it is.
Yeah, is it still double?
Yeah, their headquarters is to the east of
You guys
us.
would do have
Oh,
three.
it's still,
Yeah, we'd be doing our full House
Okay.
Street
The
improvements.
right,
okay, that was my,
the right of way is the right of.
okay,
I mean,
that's what I was just clarifying.
yeah, okay,
Thanks.
good. All right, I think we can close the presentation and close the public meeting.
Thank you.
And I think we'll be willing to take a motion from any of the board. Anybody want to?
All right, I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
I move to approve ZON 22-01271 Power and Elliott Commercial within the 3,800 to 6,800 to 6,900 blocks of East Elliott Road and within the 3,600 to 3,700 blocks of South Power Road located south of Elliott Road and east of Power Road for 12 acres, rezoned from limited commercial with a planned area development overlay and bonus intensity zone overlay to limited commercial with site plan review and special use permit to allow for commercial development. That with the approval with the conditions and the modification of the special use permit to change to 1 stall per 125 square feet for the sports gymnasium, whatever you guys call it in the ordinance facility.
I would second that.
All right, we all take a vote. Ready? Shelley?
Aye.
Okay, with a 5-1 vote, this passes with Board Member Peterson vote no and Chair Crockett not here today. Thank you. I think that's it for the cases, correct? Okay, any other items to discuss, Rachel?
Board, no, nothing more.
Okay, so this concludes our board meeting today. I appreciate everybody coming, so I will take a motion to adjourn the meeting. Jessica?
So moved.
Thank you. Second.
Aye. A second.
Aye.
All in favor? All right, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Just close it.